Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Kentucky journalists met in Frankfort to discuss how they could be a tool for everyday citizens. Plus, there's some debate over NTI days in school as a proposed amendment gets shut down.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning. My name is Amelia Lee here with you on this Wednesday, March 12th, and the time is now 6:30, which means it is time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall this morning for a look at that forecast. Megan, we've had those warmer weather recently, which has been nice. It's been a nice little break, but what can we expect as we get into this weekend? Because I know there is a chance of rain on the way.
There is a chance of rain on the way. So in the meantime, we will still be seeing those warm temperatures, which I'm definitely a fan of, but we do have that system moving through that will drop us down into the 60s and then 50s on Monday. But to be fair, around this time of year, normally we sit around 50 degrees. Here's a look at that satellite and radar. And as you can see, over the past 6 hours, we've not really seen anything but a little bit of clouds for our far northerly counties. And that's about all you can expect today, looking at mostly sunny skies as you head into the afternoon. Current temperatures, though, are surprisingly warm. We're looking at 54 degrees for Williamsburg, 50 in Hazard, 56 in Jackson, and 57 in Moorhead. And as we head into the afternoon, it'll get even warmer. We're seeing 70s and 80s. Yes, 80s. 80 degrees for Manchester and Jackson, 81 as you travel towards Irvin. We'll see how that goes throughout the next couple hours. And here's how we'll get there. We'll see the high temperatures around that 4 o'clock mark, looking at the partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Amelia.
A man is facing charges related to child sexual abuse material in Whitley County. Last Friday, KSP arrested 54-year-old Randy Pace after an undercover internet investigation on crimes against children. The investigation happened after KSP learned of the exploitation on Pace's device. Pace was charged with 1 count of distribution of matter portraying a minor in a sexual performance. A West Virginia man is facing charges after police say he appeared to be passed out near the Martin County Senior Citizen Center. Police say when they found Jonathan Pack last Thursday, he had slurred speech and bloodshot eyes. When they searched his vehicle, officers found a box containing a white powder substance, several syringes, and a digital scale, among other things. He was taken to the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. A Richmond man is facing charges after he was found trafficking drugs in Pikeville. It happened on Saturday when police pulled George Walker over for speeding on Hambly Boulevard. After police asked for consent to search Walker's vehicle, they found a large amount of suspected meth as well as cocaine, drug paraphernalia, and cash. In Whitley County, 2 people are facing charges after police found meth, Suboxone, and needles in their possession. It happened last Friday when police pulled over a vehicle on US 25 for a traffic violation. From there, police say Devin Jackson stole from a gas station, including lottery tickets worth more than $2,000. Jackson and Tina Davis were taken to the Whitley County Detention Center. A Leslie County man faces charges after he tried to break into a home in Perry County. Callers in the Fazonia community told police that Scott Stacy tried to get into their home. When police arrived, they found Stacy and were told by several witnesses he tried to enter the home. He was taken to the Kentucky River Regional Jail. An audit found hundreds of millions of dollars in financial reporting mistakes. According to auditor Allison Ball, the statewide single audit reviewed more than $22 billion in state and federal funds. It found more than $500 million in reporting mistakes. Ball says the report helps make sure Kentucky is correctly tracking its finances and safeguarding taxpayer dollars. A second part of the audit report will be released in the coming weeks. The Kentucky High School Athletic Association is warning folks to be aware when it comes to tickets for the girls basketball Sweet 16. There are only 2 places authorized to sell tickets for the event. You can buy them online at khsaatickets.org, or you can buy them in person at the Central Bank Center ticket office. Both places are selling on the Ticketmaster platform, but they do say tickets from other sellers could be a scam. Maintaining government transparency was the topic in Frankfort yesterday among journalists and state leaders. The Bluegrass chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists hosted a public forum on open government. Madison Carmouche is breaking down last night's dialogue.
Part of what we do in journalism is cover government and try to keep it open. Al Cross, the secretary for the Bluegrass chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists, says as journalism changes, community members should understand the mediums journalists use.
It is your government, but it's less your government if you don't take part in it. And journalists try to connect the public with their government, and that's what this meeting is about.
Cross says assembling a panel with a mix of journalists, advocates, and lawmakers is something he hopes will encourage the public's involvement.
Journalists are the representatives of the public at most government gatherings and meetings, but the public has just as much right of access to records and meetings as journalists do.
One of the panelists, Representative Jason Nemes, says he values opportunities to remind people he is a part of the community he serves.
And so I want to make sure that, I'm open to not only respond to my constituents, but people who kind of synthesize information for the citizens, and that would be obviously mostly reporters.
Another panelist, Senator Cassie Chambers Armstrong, says informing constituents on how rules impact changes is important to her.
We work for the taxpayers and for the public, and so those folks deserve to know what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I think, people should expect us to be out here and be open.
In Frankfort, Madison Carmouche, WKYT.
This forum was a prelude to Sunshine Week, which will be the week of March 16th through the 22nd this year. The Kentucky House voted against changes made to a bill addressing non-traditional instruction days. An amendment approved in the Senate would have allowed for open, unrestricted growth of virtual programs, or programs offered by public school districts that are on an online alternative to traditional in-school programs. The original version of House Bill 241 already passed in the House, and it now heads back to the Senate, where lawmakers will decide whether to remove that amendment. A bill that would keep cell phones out of Kentucky classrooms unanimously passed in the State House. House Bill 208 does not set a statewide standard for technology in the classroom, but the bill would require local school boards to adopt policies prohibiting the use of phones in the classroom. The bill now heads to the Senate. A Kentucky lawmaker believes state leaders can do something to bring down egg prices and help families save money. Republican Representative Savannah Maddox is sponsoring House Bill 365, which would let local producers sell 240 dozen eggs a week. Right now, state regulations limit local producers to selling a maximum of 60 dozen eggs a week. Maddox says increasing the supply will help lower egg prices. The Kentucky Senate voted not to ban the sale of cannabis drinks, at least for now. Senate Bill 202 cleared the Senate Licensing and Occupations Committee last week. But after discussions, the lawmaker who sponsored the bill proposed an amendment that instead calls for regulation of the cannabis drinks. If passed, this new version of the bill would give the Department of Alcoholic Beverage Control and the Malt Beverage Administration authority. Kentucky lawmakers advanced a bill they hope will stop anti-Semitism on college campuses. Senate Joint Resolution 55. That bill would direct Kentucky colleges and universities to adopt policies for combating anti-Semitism. It also calls on campuses to disband and report any student organizations that provided resources to terrorist organizations. That joint resolution passed committee, and it now moves to the House floor for a full vote. In the final days of the legislative session, some bills are getting the attention of advocates of the LGBTQ community. Senate Bill 2 would prevent sex change operations for Kentucky inmates. Senate Bill 60 would allow citizens to sue the government if they believe their religious practices have been restricted. Senate Bill 132 would allow doctors to refuse care if it goes against their conscience. And House Bill 495, which would seek to overturn Governor Beshear's 2024 executive order to ban conversion therapy.
These bills protecting rights of conscience, protecting religious freedom, those are universal protections that all Kentuckians benefit from when we have our First Amendment freedoms protected in state law.
Senate Bills 2, 60, and 132 all passed through the Senate and are waiting to be passed by a House committee. House Bill 495 passed through the House, and it now waits to be passed by a Senate committee.
Let's talk temperatures as you're heading out the door. Currently, we're mainly looking in the 40s and 50s, seeing some 30s as you're traveling a little bit more towards the southeast. But for the most part, it's not too bad of a morning. Now, as we head into the afternoon, we'll see those temperatures warming up And we'll see highs in the 70s with some standout 80s in the forecast for today. So be prepared for those warm temperatures and mostly sunny skies. You might need a jacket though this morning, but short sleeves underneath as you travel into the afternoon. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. Nice and clear this morning, but we will see some clouds move into the area as we travel into the afternoon. Again, staying mostly sunny. Here's a look at that bus stop forecast as you are on the way to school. You can expect those temperatures in the low 50s for most of the region with those clear skies. And by the time you're heading home, well, those temperatures will be in the upper 70s with mostly clear skies. Amelia.
Thanks, Megan, and thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:40. Still to come on Mountain News this morning, some Kentucky voters headed to the Capitol to protest proposed federal cuts to Veterans Affairs and Medicaid.